Okay, so help me out here and look at me and tell me, am I really that embarrassing to be seen out with in public? Because my own daughter, who is 14 years old, decided sometime in the recent past that she has been cursed with the most embarrassing father on the planet. And it's me. And she communicates this with just one word, but it's the way she says it, with excruciating anguish. And that word is Dad. And there are variations. Sometimes it's seriously, Dad? Or, Dad, oh my God. And it's everything about me. I mean, I'm drinking water, the little sound my Adam's apple makes, Dad, gross. It's the clothes I wear. You're gonna wear those shoes, Dad? I mean, really, are these embarrassing shoes? Or, you know, the way I program the radio on my car, she gets in, she pushes the button. Oh my God, Dad. NPR? Her name is Noah, that's spelled N-O-A, and Noah at 14 is gorgeous and smart, and she really is cool. And I swear to you that there was a time in her life when she thought that I was so cool too. And I know I'm not imagining this. I can remember a time when she was 2 or 3 years old, and I would walk in the front door, and she would come running to me going, Daddy's home, and jump in my arms. I remember that time. I remember the time we went to a Nationals game. We were sitting in the seats and clouds came over and an outburst followed, and in the downpour, all the seats around us emptied as people scattered. But we decided it would be more fun just to sit there together in the rain under one umbrella and watch the rain go down around us. I remember that time. And I remember the times when she was maybe 9 or 10 or 11 years old, when she was a perfectly reliable audience for my domestic comedy shtick, when I would wander into the kitchen wearing on my head, by accident, my wife's underwear for a laugh. And she loved that, and with that beautiful little kid laughter where they can't breathe, it's like, oh man, I really flew close to the sun once. Well, a few weeks ago, I thought maybe I was going to have a chance to fly up there again, because Noah has become obsessed with a British boy band known as One Direction. And for those who don't know, One Direction is a huge group, and Noah really may qualify as their biggest fan in the world because she knows everything about them. She knows their shoe sizes, she knows their middle names, she literally knows the names of all of their bodyguards. And because she tracks them so closely, she found out months and months in advance that One Direction was going to be giving a concert at Central Park in New York in late November, and that it was going to be televised live on Good Morning America. And I work for ABC, and she had the sense, perhaps, that I could do something. She didn't ask directly. She just told me about this when we were at home by email from the next room. She didn't ask, so I picked up the message, and I pulled some strings, and I managed to get her the most amazing set of passes for herself and 2 of her girlfriends to be right in front of the stage when One Direction performed in New York. Right, but I didn't overplay it. I just let her know I had the passes. I sent an email back to her. But I think the thrill was there. And I know the thrill was there because her 2 friends, Claire and Jacqueline, came over to the house on the night that we were going to take a train up to New York, and they're very well-mannered 14-year-olds, and they said to me, oh, thank you so much, Mr. Donvan, thank you, that's so great, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I said, well, girls, you know, I think we're really going to have a good Dad. And I looked at Noah, and she was giving me, the poor thing, like this look of panic in her eyes that were saying to me, Dad, shut up. Stop talking. Because of the many, many ways that I have apparently developed to embarrass Noah, The most threatening way, the nightmare way, is for me ever to get into a conversation with any of her friends, because God knows what embarrassing thing is going to come out of my mouth. So, you know, I've just kind of decided over the years, these past few years, that probably, while I don't quite get this thing, but I do kind of get it, and I'm confused by it, then until this phase passes, I'm just going to, for the sake of peace, make the decision that when her friends are around, I am not to speak. And so that night we got on the train and we went up to New York, and the three girls sat together in a set of seats, and I sat a few seats away, close enough so that I could see them, but far enough away so that I was invisible. And I made sure not to speak. And at 4 o'clock the next morning in Central Park, where I was the chaperone, where we started standing on line for a wait that was going to go on for hours, I stood by their sides, but I said nothing, because I understand that I am not to speak. And then finally, when dawn broke and the concert began under cold and gray skies, but creating its own warmth with the frenetic emotion of 6,000 14-year-olds surrounding us and their mothers, jumping up and down and shrieking and screaming and bouncing to the music as One Direction came onto the stage and broke into their hit song, which is called Best Song Ever. And the girls, everyone, they're all like singing along with the lyrics, which go, I think it was yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was oh, oh, oh. And even in all of that, I moved over towards the side of the stage, put in my earplugs, and made sure that I did not speak. But you know what? A moment was about to come that had nothing to do with words, because Noah was right at the front, and she was dancing along with yeah, 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 oh, oh, oh. And I suddenly saw her looking around. She was looking for me. And she caught my eyes, and I looked back at her, and she didn't say anything, but she gave me one of these. But then things went almost completely haywire in this very, very weird way, because the concert ended and the boys began to come off the stage, the singers, and one of them, named Harry Styles, sort of paused, and he began gesturing towards somebody in the audience. Well, my daughter's friend Claire, the well-mannered girl, was sort of at the front fence, and for some reason, in her emotional frenzy, she became convinced that Harry was trying to communicate with her. And she starts going, Harry, Harry, Harry! But just at that point, one of the bodyguards comes along and steps in front of Harry. The bodyguard's name was Paul, I was told later. Steps in front of Harry and leads him off stage, and Claire dissolves into tears, going, oh my God, Harry, 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 Harry. What Claire did not know is that Harry had indeed been gesturing to somebody in the audience, but it was not to Claire. There was this little kid about 4 rows behind Claire who had come to the concert in a wheelchair. And I think Harry wanted to do a sort of, you know, right, thanks so much for coming out, making the trouble to come out to our concert kind of thing. But Claire didn't know this. In her mind, well, it wasn't in her mind. What she was saying, oh my God, Paul, you bastard, why did you do that with Harry? Because she thought she was going to have this moment with Harry. And when she's crying, all of a sudden, Jacqueline, the other little girl, in sympathy goes, whoa! And she starts crying, and I look to my daughter, and there are tears streaming down her face, and I say to myself, I really should speak up here. So I pull the girls aside and I say, girls, there's something really, really important that I need you to know. And Claire says, what? And Jacqueline says, what is it? And Noah says, Dad. Not because she knows anything. It's just because I'm about to speak. But I ignore her protest and I tell them the truth, that Harry had been trying to talk to this other girl. And Claire goes, what? And I say, yes, it's true. And Claire goes, oh, I feel so much better knowing that. And Claire goes, I feel better too knowing that. I mean, Jacqueline says, I feel better too knowing that. And I look over at Noah, and she gives me, second time in the day. To this moment, I am baffled how it happened. But somehow, when I spoke around her friends, I managed to say the right thing. And as we walked away from Central Park, I was going to go find them breakfast somewhere, there was this little song playing in my heart that went, I want to go, oh, oh, oh. I want to go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.